Disclaimer! The following episode contains spoilers for Shazam! Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned! Welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. And this week, what a rip-off! There is no Shaquille O'Neal anywhere in this movie! Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. My name is Scott James Merridew, and this is a show where I talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and I'm joined each week by a very special different guest. And my guest today, she's been on the show many times before. She's A Place to Hang Your Cape's resident DC fan. Give it up, Capers, for the editor of Podcapers, Alex Mirabal.
Hello.
Hi, Alex. When was the last time you were on the show? Would have been the 100th episode.
Yeah, it was 100.
Yeah, so it's been quite a few episodes since then. We've been coming on with alarming regularity because DC have been releasing movies with alarming regularity, and even more alarming, they're actually good. Yeah.
Well, the next one isn't until October, so we've got some time.
Oh yeah, like half a year. Great. So, oh god. Oh. It's the thing is, like, there've been so many good. Well, so many. There's been 3 so far. 3 good DC movies. But it's
debatable.
No, there are 3, including this one. But if they all start being good now, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. What else is there for me aside from hating Disney? Like this is the thing that gives my life depth.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that, like, I've always been confused of why you hate Disney but not the MCU.
Okay, first of all, I love Marvel way before, anything else. Marvel was always there for me. From my mere conception, Marvel was there for me. Watching over me like a guardian angel. But, the MCU thing, I mean, was I sad when Disney bought Marvel? Yes. However, they have left the MCU alone for the most part. Creative control seems to be the hands, at least from my perspective, with Marvel Studios. It's the same reason why I like Pixar, because Disney mostly leave Pixar alone, aside from making tons of money off. But they need Pixar to do the creative stuff, and Pixar, 9 times out of 10, release brilliant products. When Disney do their own creative things, when they are in charge of things creatively, they tend to fuck shit up. Just look at Star Wars.
I don't understand the hate for the most recent Star Wars. And I like Star Wars, but I just don't care enough to be angry about it. I thought Last Jedi was just kind of an okay movie, and I didn't understand why people were either completely in love with it or totally hated it. I don't think it deserved either direction.
I mean, that's fair enough, but here's the thing. You're not quite getting why people get emotional about it, is the same reaction that I think a lot of people at Disney had. They're like, well, I didn't realise people would get, have strong opinions about this, iconic science fiction franchise that has billions of fans the world over. Who could have seen that coming? And it's just like, yeah, fucking right. People are going to have stronger feelings about it. People still have really strong feelings about movies that came out in the goddamn 70s and 80s regards to this franchise. And people have so many different opinions about it. And if you want to make movies about it, fine, fair play. But you gotta... That's a whole different discussion for another day. We need to stick with one terrible thing at a time. So let's get back to the DCEU. That was actually before then. I want to clarify something because Kate, you about this, but when I introduced the show just now, I made a bit of a reference to another thing that Alex is not quite familiar with. So Alex,
no,
let me give you the saga, the legacy of the joke that I am not the first person to make, this legendary stupid joke that people have been making for years. I call it the Shazam, Kazaam, sort of trifecta. Actually, was it because you say trifecta, I'm sure they're going to talk about 2 things. No, I'm talking about 3 things. So,
Right.
first of all, you've got Shazam, aka Captain Marvel, that whole business. Kid says Shazam, transforms into Captain Marvel / Shazam, superhero, originally Fawcett Comics, then DC Comics, yada yada yada. With me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got Kazaam, a movie in the 90s featuring basketball turned meme star Shaquille O'Neal, where
Yes.
he plays a genie that raps, and it's as stupid as it sounds.
Boy.
I
Okay.
mean, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. I can't emphasize enough how stupid it is.
It's the Shaq Fu of movies.
Oh,
It's a
whole
Shaq
thing.
property that's garbage.
But like every other Shaq thing, like every single Shaquille O'Neal related thing, like what has he been in that's been actually decent aside from that lovely smile of his?
I have no idea. I don't
That's
know.
the
I've
only
never seen
reason
Steel.
people like him is because of that cheeky grin of his. It's just like, no, he's so
I've never
giant
seen
and adorable.
Steel.
Oh,
as much-
God! Oh, fuck! We're talking about another DC movie. Fucking
Yeah.
Steel. Steel is, I mean...
I'm shocked that's not on DC Universe. I want like the old bad DC movies to be put on DC Universe, and they haven't. Only the TV shows.
just like Man of Steel, Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman, The Flash, all up in line. The end of the line, the Shaquille O'Neal in his stupid, slow-moving Steel outfit, just like, yeah, I'm here too. I've got my massive hammer. I'm gonna
Don't even have
help, guys.
They don't even have the DCE movies on there, which is frustrating. I wish they did, because that would make my life way easier, because they're not on Netflix either. So what the
Yes.
fuck? How, like, I'm going to buy them.
It's like if you're going to have
Isn't
I find the concept of streaming services just related to one particular company or franchise to be utterly abhorrent. Like, have your Netflixes, have your Amazon Primes or whatever, but we've got like Disney Go or DC Unlimited or whatever the shit they come out with. It's like, that's so limited. Why would we do that when you could just have your stuff on other things and accessible to other things that people already have, and then you have other people do the work for you? It's just, that's a whole other thing. But I'm not finished with the Shazam, Kazam trifecta, because then you've got another movie that has never been made, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, that's the one I thought you were talking about.
I think it's either called Shazam or Kazam as
It
well.
is. I found an article about it. It's called Shazam.
Shazam.
With 2 A's. With 3 A's.
With 3 A's. Shazam!
Yeah.
Starring legendary comedic actor Sinbad, best known for that triumph of cinema, Jingle All the Way. And it's supposedly this movie about Sinbad being a genie to a kid, but the movie doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, never existed. It's Mandela effect.
And the what effect?
The Mandela effect, it's when, like, collectively everyone kind of thinks that it's one way, and in reality it's not at all. Like, Berenstein Bears is the big one. It's actually the Berenstein Bears.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been getting that wrong for years.
It's, but everyone thought it was Berenstein Bears, and in reality, like, there are actually, like, VHS tapes that spell it wrong, like, 3 different ways.
Ah, jeez. Yeah, it's an interesting bit of psychology, sociology lesson for you there, Capers. Yeah, and so it is kind of weird that we sort of capped it off with... There's just this weird link between these completely unrelated cinematic ideas, even not even films, ideas, and it's a very weird thing. Now, I bring this up simply because there's lots of other weird links in this movie, in the casting, with other superhero / DC properties. Zachary Levi was in Thor. Mark Strong was in Green Lantern. John Honsu has not only been in Aquaman, but also Captain Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
It's so weird. It's like, is this 6 Degrees of Kevin Feige or something? I don't get it.
And not a superhero franchise, but Jack Dylan Glazer Grazer did fight Pennywise.
Who? Oh, that's the kid who plays Freddy.
Freddy, yeah, he was in It.
Oh, I see. Okay, I want to bring that up actually later. I didn't know he was
Yeah.
in it, but I want to bring something up with that. And okay, so initial thoughts on Shazam. Did you go into with high expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I go into most DC movies with high expectations, except probably Joker. I'm kind of iffy about that.
Oh, actually, that's the point. We got to talk before we talk about Shazam. We've got to talk about the Joker trailer. I mean,
Yeah.
my initial reaction to the concept of a Joker solo movie was pretty much the same as yours. Like, really? Really? I mean, it could work, but really?
He's overused. I don't like him that much. Like, there's this weird romanticism for weird, gross men that I can't stand. Like,
Alex, I like the Joker.
Yeah, there was one guy in an
What are you
acting
I
class.
am your boss, Alex!
There
You're Pam, I'm Michael Scott! It's in the name!
was a guy in my like freshman year college acting class who brought a copy of The Killing Joke to every single class and forced one of his scene partners to read a scene like they were Harley and Joker, and I wanted to die. I stood away from him like 50 feet. I was like, I'm not going anywhere near you. Please don't even look at me. I stopped wearing my Batman shirts to that class.
Oh, God, it's like he's gonna fight you like, you, my arch nemesis, let's have a round, bats! It's not gonna work, yeah. I mean, I like the
Or
Joker.
even worse, he would try to test me on my DC knowledge because I'm not allowed to know things because I'm a girl.
Fuck off. That's not... Okay, so I like the Joker, I do, but not to that extent. I never brought the Killing Joke or any other Joker or Batman and DC-related things into, like, university or work or whatever. It's like no, like... The most I ever did with that is like we had to, when I was in school in sixth form, we had to bring in our favourite book into like an English lesson, and I brought in Watchmen because
Right,
because it's a book, Mrs. McGregor, it's a book. But anyway, and so yeah, the people who do take it to extreme, but I do like the character. I do find him interesting. I find him a very interesting fall for Batman. I find the way he plays off of other characters, including Harley Quinn, to be very fascinating. But, it's tempered within, a sphere of reason and sanity. However, I saw the trailer for the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, and I'll be honest, I know it's just a trailer, and trailers can be deceptive, and doesn't mean the movie is going to be good, but I thought it looks cool.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting. I like Zazie Beetz a lot. She was very good in Deadpool 2, so I'll probably go see it.
Is it Zazie or Zazie? Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Sorry, you cut out for a second. Sorry, could you say that again?
I'm not sure how it's pronounced. I've never really heard anyone say it. But I like her a lot, and I'll probably go see it, even though I've got my, reservations. I mean, the director is the same guy who directed The Hangover.
Ooh.
And that's just a weird combo.
But you want to talk about what about this movie? This is directed by David F. Sandberg, who's only...
Yeah.
But first of all, I want to bring two things up. One, as much as I like this movie and I like the direction, he's only really done horror films, Lights Out and Annabelle Creation. I haven't seen these movies. I hear good things about Lights Out.
5 years ago, he made a short on YouTube, and that's how he got his career started. He made like a horror short where like the lights were like this woman like was flicking the lights, and at the end of the hallway, every time the lights went off, she saw something.
It was Lights Out. I think that was a short film that became the movie.
Yeah, probably.
He did the short Lights Out. I think that became like a feature film.
Mm-hmm. That's probably. I mean, it's so cool that he like that's his career trajectory from YouTube to multi-million-dollar franchises. Like that's great. Good for him.
I think it is great, good for him, and I want to make it clear, I have nothing against this guy. I think he's very good. Well, I don't know about his other movies, but just based on this movie, he's very good. Mm-hmm. But I feel this is slightly hypocritical because so many studios, and I'm going to be on my soapbox here for a bit, when female directors. Yeah, I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm fucking doing
Yeah.
this. You are hostages to my little rant here. Come and say, I want to do this or I want to do that. And say, oh yeah, but this is a big franchise. We want to leave it to like someone who's much more... And the excuse they always give is, want to leave it to someone more experienced, someone much more established or whatever the bullshit reasoning. And then they give Shazam this big movie to this guy who's done only 2 other films in a completely different genre. And it's just... this is not David F. Sandberg's fault in any way, shape or form. I'm not even saying that DC themselves are sexist for hiring him. I want to make that very clear. No one's at fault here. I'm just... Except for the atmosphere around Hollywood where this sort of thing is perfectly acceptable, but handing off a similar movie to a female director is almost always overlooked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did it. DC did it with Patty Jenkins. Like the film that she did before Wonder Woman was like a really tiny indie film, and she's gone back to really tiny indie films.
Yeah.
So they did it once. They can do it again.
But Wonder Woman was very much about this idea of women in cinema. It didn't shy away from that aspect, as well it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
So
but, yeah, women should be allowed to direct.
If they hired a female director for that movie, they would have been lambasted. They would have never have gotten away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Women can direct movies that aren't necessarily about something relating to the female experience.
Right, exactly.
So
we need to let more women direct things that aren't just about women.
Exactly, yeah. And we need to stop men writing about things that are explicitly about women when they don't really have that perspective. Like, I'm not saying a man can't write from a female perspective or create a narrative or a movie or a story or whatever that is very well done in that aspect. But let's be honest, you're not coming from a place of knowledge and experience there, are you?
Oh, yeah. That's why the Joss Whedon Wonder Woman script is hot garbage.
Joss Whedon did a Wonder Woman script?
Oh, yeah. Before he actually ever pitched like the whole idea for the MCU, he wanted to do a DC universe, and Green Lantern bombed, and so that's why they never did it. But he had a Wonder Woman script that he presented to DC, and it's like, yeah, she's called a bitch on at least like every single page. It's from Steve Trevor's perspective. She's just this like magical girl just there for Steve. And when confronted about this script that it was released a few years ago, so like everyone was able to read it finally, he stood by it. He was like, yeah, it would have been a good movie. And then he got fired from Batgirl and said that Warner Brothers wasn't ready for boobs in a batsuit.
Every new thing I learn about my hero Joss Whedon makes me like him just a little bit less.
He hasn't been good since like the mid-2000s.
Oh, yeah. This is the guy that did Buffy. This is the guy that did that, later on did that and thought it was appropriate. I mean, not even like, I thought it was right, clearly I was wrong, sorry, I'll be better next time. No. He stood... Well, you know what? For our 200th episode, we're doing a live script reading of that script. I want to find it. I want to...
Great.
Oh, fuck me. Right, so, yeah, it's, that's it. That end of rant, soapbox over. And so let's get on to talking about Shazam properly. I think it's about time. So, I mean, I want to say, I asked you what your thoughts were going into this movie. I didn't go into this movie with high hopes because ever since Suicide Squad, I don't go into a movie with high hopes. And it means that, more recently, it means a much more pleasant experience for me because it means I can get pleasantly surprised by a movie. And I got pleasantly surprised by this movie. And it started off with a very big surprise when it turns out a young boy has been playing ball in the back of his car in the 70s, and his dad is Lionel Luthor! Like, it's John Glover is the name of the guy, isn't it? Yeah, John Glover is the name of the guy playing his dad. John Glover has played Lionel Luthor in the TV show Smallville, and he played Dr. Jason Woodrow in Batman and Robin, which we script read for the 100th episode. I believe I played him at one point. He was a creepy bastard.
Mm-hmm.
And he just keeps playing not very nice people in DC movies.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, a lot of DC movies are very like insular. They pass around people all the time, especially between the animated people.
Yeah,
like they're just all over the place. Like this is kind of just mostly a reference, but like Kara's parents in Supergirl.
Yeah.
Her dad is Superman. Like,
and her mum is the original Supergirl. Yeah, it's
exactly.
I mean, but that's like a much more obvious reference.
Mm-hmm.
This, like, you could have cast anyone in the role of the main bad guy, as he's revealed later to be's dad, but they just got John Glover, and you know, I like John Glover, so I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he was a good evil dad.
Well, that's the thing, he's not evil, he's kind of a dick. Like, he's a bit of a dick to his younger son and much nicer to his older son.
Yeah.
And clearly, young Thaddeus Savannah, like, I'm just going to say, if you name your child Thaddeus, they're going to be grown up to be one of two things. Either a Civil War general or an arsehole. Most likely a supervillain arsehole. There's no other profession that they can be.
And it's my dad has a saying, because he loves Marvel, don't trust a Victor. I think a Thaddeus should also be involved in that.
Thaddeus is the DC equivalent of Victor. Yes, I agree.
I think he's the only Thaddeus that I know about in DC. So
in Marvel there's Thunderbolt Thaddeus Ross.
Right.
I think his name is Thaddeus. Although in Marvel, I want to say there is one Victor that's a good guy. He's in the Runaways. He's an android and he's cool. So, just want to say that. But anyway,
he's the good Victor.
The good Victor. The one good Victor. 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Right. So, meanwhile. No, hang on. Sorry.
Hmm?
I don't know. I think I drank some water and I think I might have gone down the wrong hole or something. Something weird's going on in my chest.
Oh, yeah.
Update, Capers. I'm dying. I'll live with it. Okay, so, meanwhile, young Thaddeus, I'm just going to call him Thad. Yeah, you know, that's what I'm going to call him Thad from now on. Because as we all know, once every single person who is Thaddeus is either a Civil War general or a supervillain. Anyone who's named Thad is a douchebag college jock. So,
yes.
Thad is playing with his magic 8-ball, but it gets transported magically to this place called the Rock of Eternity, which I thought was just like code for an engagement ring, but sure.
Mm-hmm.
And in it is who else but Jamon Honsu as the ancient wizard Shazam.
I didn't recognize him at all. I saw the credits and I was like, really?
Yeah, I mean, he's very weirdy beardy, and because John Holmes has got a very distinctive look, he's got a very distinct face, but it does require his whole face to be seen. When he's hidden under like a mound of Gandalf's spare beard, it doesn't really make it easy to recognize him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so he basically explains, all right, here's what's going on. Used to be a whole council of wizards, the White Council, but they all fucked off and died. I call it the White Council because that's yet another Lord of the Rings reference. There will be many. And basically what we're looking for a champion who's pure of heart to help save the world and stop the 7 deadly sins. And that, Full Metal Alchemist guy is nowhere to be found, so I guess we're going to have to go with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little test. If you can not grab that glowing orb of evil power, everything will be fine. But then the 7 deadly sins are just like, eyes start glowing, it's like, he lies, take the glowing orb, it'll give you unlimited power, precious, blah, blah, blah. And the kid goes to grab the orb, and Shazam is like, wait, no, don't do that, that was a test and you failed, bye. And he transported back to his car, and I'm just wondering, like, wait, was the kid being mind-controlled, or was he just tempted on his own volition? Because if he was being mind-controlled, like... and the test was whether or not he could resist the mind control. Like, I don't think that's a very fair test.
I think it's just like appealing to your worst nature. like, hey, like he's gonna make you do shit to get it. We'll just give it to you.
Yeah, that is. I think that you brought up a very good point, because that is what something I think a lot of A, movies, and B, video games with moral choices in them get wrong. They assume like a binary moral choice would be like, do you save the puppy or do you stamp on the puppy's head with your steel toe-capped boot? And it's like, no, that's not really very realistic or naturalistic. What an actual binary moral choice would be: do you save the puppy or do you walk by the puppy because you've got other shit to do?
Yeah.
That's much more relatable. So I think you brought up a very good point. In case Thad fails and he gets transported back to his car, and he immediately starts freaking out, like, holy shit, what was going on? No, take me back, meow, 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 distracting his dad, who nearly crashes the car. And he just, like, stops the car in the middle of the road, just like, what the hell were you thinking? You're an absolute fuckwit, son. You're a fuckwit. I am not going to regret saying these horrible things to you at all. Oh, there's another car. Bam.
Yeah.
Dad gets thrown from the car, somehow survives. I've no idea.
I thought he was dead. I was convinced that he was dead until they showed him later.
Like, he is full-on ejected from the car, like, face first through the windscreen of the, like, buckle up, kids, otherwise it'd be like John Glover, and he's just lying inside the road in a pool of his own blood. It's the 70s. They don't have a phone. How are they going to call for an ambulance? I don't know, but I guess he's magic. Like the Luthers are made of strong stuff. So
yeah.
He survives, and the boy kind of gets estranged from his father and his older brother, because they're dicks, and he kind of sort of caused the crash a bit, I guess. It's not entirely his fault, but it kind of is. Anyway, flash forward to the year 2018 in not Fawcett City, as I believe that's where Shazam is from, but Philadelphia, born and raised. Some of the days. I got in one little fight, and then he said he's going to go and live in the Justice Hall of, I don't know. I know the song off by heart. I'm sorry, Will Smith. I'm sorry. Anyway, and then we're introduced to 14-year-old foster kid Billy Batson, who's introduced in a hilarious way. He's called the police and said, hey, I heard like a commotion in this shop. You need to go and check it out. I heard it's something that was in the back. And I'm like immediately thinking like, okay, so he's tricking the police, right? He's tricking the police. What's he going to do? Is he going to, like, lift their wallets, steal something from the car? No! He locks them into the store, runs into the police car, and uses the computer that they have in the police car to look up someone who he thinks is his actual biological mum. And then he steals a police officer's lunch.
That was so good. He's just like, golly gee, the cops, the boys in blue. Like... totally hamming it up.
It's like that's a direct reference. Like I think I read I'm actually like a screen cap or like an online thing of the original Captain Marvel Shazam comic, and Billy Batson that is very much emblematic of the time, like 30s and 40s. Right. He's like, golly gee whiz, mister, oh wow, I sure will be, pure of heart and everything, and stay in school and don't do drugs except maybe on the weekends. And so,
yeah.
And so that's a very oblique reference to that, and it's very funny. And even though, because we've been used to the idea of a much more rebellious Billy Batson for a while now, ever since the Jeff Johns reboot, like the New 52 reboot of Captain Shazam, which I have read, and I did find it to be rather good, if not a bit rushed and condensed. What did you make of it?
I've never read a lot of New 52. I kind of stayed in my Bat lane. But a lot of the new DC stuff is taking inspirations from Jeff Johns stuff.
Yeah. Because it's the only one that created a story that someone liked. Because all the other characters were complete utter shit and or had massive breasts.
You need to read Batgirl at Burnside. That was A+.
Okay,
Babs Tarr is a goddess, and I love her with all my heart.
Do you want to know something of DC that I have read that I did like? On your recommendation, I read, what's it called? The DC Bombshells line.
Yeah.
Where it's like
bombshells.
all the DC female characters in like the 1940s fighting Nazis and stuff. And I haven't read all of it, but I've read quite a bit of it, and it is amazing. So
Yeah, I mean, my favorite writer and my favorite artist, like my favorite writer is Marguerite Bennett. My favorite artist is Babs Tarr, and Babs only did some covers for Bombshells, but I want them to work together so bad. Please.
what a crossover that would be.
Yeah.
But back to the movie. Back to the movie.
Yes.
So Billy thinks he's found his biological mum, and I'm thinking, well, it's been like 10 minutes into the movie. I'm sure this will actually be his mum. It turns out, no, it's not his mum, and he gets picked up by the police, who are remarkably okay with the fact that he A, locked them in a shop, B, broke into their car, and C, stole private information. Like the
It's America, and he's white. He's fine.
Of course, of course. What stupid of me. I'm so sorry. Imagine that. Me thinking that he should be treated equally under the eyes of the law. What a stupid thing to think. So he gets taken to a social worker played by Andy Osho, who's a British comedian who I've seen a few times on like Live at the Apollo and stuff. She's very good. But apparently she was in Lights Out, that movie, playing the same social worker. So...
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. I was wondering why her nameplate was so, like, prominent, and I was like, is this supposed to be a reference that I'm not getting? And it exactly is.
I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so I didn't get it either. I learned this after the fact. I was only just like, oh, it's Andy Osho. I didn't know she was moving. Oh, she's an actor. Oh, she's very good. Okay, great. And so she's like, okay, Billy, you know what? You're 14. You can't really look after yourself. Just like, and it also like, and then we get a flashback of the day Billy lost his mum. They were at the like a fairground, and we get a great reference to, because see, Shazam has a tiger called Mr. Tawny.
Yeah.
And we didn't get a reference to that in the movie outside of this scene, where his mum is like at a carnival game with him, and he's like, I want the tiger, Mum, I want the tiger. And she's like, I'm trying to get the tiger, kid, don't worry. And like that, it's a blink and you miss a thing. If you're not familiar with it, you won't get it. But if you do get it, it's like, oh, it's a cute little reference.
Yep. I saw Us twice last week, and so seeing a child get lost at a fair is a little bit horrifying to me.
Oh dear. Damn you, Jordan Peele! You're making me fear everything about society. But
yeah.
And they go off to the crowd. He accidentally like drops this little toy that his mum won for him. This like a keychain thing with like a compass on it. And he tries to pick it up, and when he looks around, his mum is gone. It's like, Mum, where are you? And later the police are called, and his mum is nowhere to be found. And years later, they still haven't found her. And at this point, the social worker's like, yeah, okay, if you haven't found her by now, if we couldn't find her, the police couldn't find her, then clearly she doesn't want to be found. And I'm like, well, thanks for spoiling the resolution to this little plot thread, because obviously that's going to be the case. Because, like, even if she would... There's only two ways it could end. Either she deliberately lost him and didn't want to be found, or B, she's dead and, like, killed by the mafia or something, or transported to another dimension or whatever. So...
There's... The tone of the movie makes you feel like there's some hope that somehow, some way, it was just really an accident. Like Billy has this hope the entire movie, and I'd like to point out that both Thaddeus and Billy have an orb from their childhood that they can't let go of.
Oh, symbolism!
Yeah, and it's their symbol entirely of all the regrets and like the family I could have had, the good things I could have had, and Billy's able to give it up, and Thaddeus isn't.
Yeah, it's all about letting go, and it is that aspect is very interesting. But the whole Find a Mum thing, you can kind of see where it's going.
Yeah,
unless this is your very first movie, which is possible considering I sat next to when I went to see this movie wouldn't shut up the entire fucking movie.
Oh no!
Like 5 of them constantly talking, not in every scene, not all the time, but just like constantly chatting Sometimes about the movie, sometimes about random shit. And it's just like, I came here to watch a movie, not listen to you. Pipe down! But so back in the prison, the social worker says, look, I've got this new foster parents for you because the old ones don't want you back because, poor little orphan Billy. It's a hard knock life for you. And there's this new family, another good Victor. Victor and Rosa Vasquez.
Yeah, I forgot his name was Victor. I love them.
They are the most... I want them to be my parents. Sorry,
Yeah.
Mum and Dad, I found someone better. These two are lovely. But they're not... They're lovely, but they're not pushovers. That's what I like about them. Because they were foster kids themselves. And so they're sort of passing it forward and taking on foster kids themselves. And they acknowledge that sometimes it's very hard and they struggle, but they try their very best, and they love all the kids they foster, and they want to create the best environment they can for them, with rules and boundaries, but also with a lot of love, which is exactly what they need. And it's kind of cheesy, but it works in this scenario.
Right. Yeah, I love your little bumper sticker. I'm a foster mom. What's your superpower?
And in any other movie, that would be kind of kitschy and funny. In this movie, it's impactful.
Yeah, it's so they're both just the best people, and they care so much about Billy right off the bat.
Because
yeah.
they've been through when they were kids, they sometimes ran away from home too.
Yep.
And so they take him to their home, which has 5 other foster kids. Mary, Pedro, Eugene, and Darla. Let's run through this. Mary is about to go to college and is very much the level-headed, responsible one who's got bright future on the horizon, but very much into her family. Pedro is very quiet, perhaps not doing so well at school. We don't learn a lot about him, but the little we do learn about him is kind of interesting. Eugene is just a little kid who is really into his gaming, clearly got some I don't know, maybe ADD or something going on.
Yeah, he's that actor is hilarious. He's on one of my favorite sitcoms called Fresh Off the Boat.
Oh,
and
I've heard of that.
Oh my god, he's so good. He's this just tiny whiz kid he's the smartest of the 3 boys, and he there's an episode where he becomes vice mommy and is in charge of the house.
Shit.
He's very
take
cute.
that, Randall Park! You've been supplanted!
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's another reference to Marvel! Oh, because he was
Oh my god, there's that connection too! No!
Shit! Oh god, Hollywood is just like a web. Oh god. And then we've got Darla, who is the sweetest, loveliest, little adorable thing. Who would want her?
She's so cute. I love her.
She's so precious. I just want to hold her and keep her safe from all the hurt and bad things in the world.
Oh my god, I adore her. And she tries so hard to be so nice to everyone.
and in any other movie, that would be cloying and weird and overly cutesy. She'd be like the fucking girl duck from DuckTales, Webby.
Right.
But the original one, not the new one. But no, she's actually really sweet and endearing, and she's very funny as well. She's got some really funny lines. And then we got Billy's roommate, the guy she's sharing a room with, Freddie, who is disabled, and they do... I don't know if this is the best way they could have done, but I think it's the best way they could have done it, is immediately they have him make a joke about being disabled.
Right. Well, I think that his jokes were really good. No one in the theater laughed at those first few jokes, and I felt kind of bad because I didn't either. I was like, okay, I think probably because it was in the trailer.
I don't want to be judged.
I think possibly because pretty much that whole scene was in the trailers of him being like, it's real Game of Thrones around here, and they threw me out a window. And it was like, yep. It's like that joke I feel like only really lands once, and so when you put it in the trailer, it kind of ruins it.
The reason why I say I think it works, though, is because even if people don't laugh at it, it's because it's giving this character agency of its own, his own disability, and it's like he accepts that it's part of his life, and I guess he's fine with it as much as any disabled person can be fine with having something like that going on. So it doesn't fetishize it. It doesn't stigmatize
No.
it. There's nothing negative about it. It's all positive.
I like Jack Dylan Grazer a lot, but I do kind of wish that he was like Freddy was played by an actual disabled actor.
Yeah.
Because there really wasn't a reason that it had to be someone who was able-bodied.
Yeah.
Especially with the ending, it didn't have to be a able-bodied person.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I completely agree. We talked about female directors. Now we're going to talk about able-bodied people in Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we get it done well, Breaking Bad. Sometimes, wait, was the actor who played the kid with cerebral palsy in Breaking Bad actually have cerebral palsy?
I believe so.
Okay, good. Phew, I was right for a second there, but yeah, it's an issue and it doesn't need to be addressed. And if it doesn't have to be played by someone. Like, I mean, you are never going to be able to... Well, I mean, you might, I guess, but depending on the stories you tell. You could never really get someone who's in a wheelchair to play Professor X.
Right, because he's always getting up for some reason.
For various reasons, yeah.
Yeah.
But this character, yeah, you're absolutely right. And here's what I would have done. Cast a disabled person in that role and cast that actor, the kid from It, as you say... in the role of Billy Batson.
He would have been a really good Billy. I mean, Asher Angel, I think, did a good job. But I think that dynamic would probably be better served if it was Jack Dylan Grazer.
Yeah, because he's fine. He is Asher Angel. He's absolutely fine. And also, that is a killer name. That is awesome. But that's like a sci-fi hero name. Hi, my name's Agent Asher Angel, here to save the universe. But... I mean, for me, and we're going to get into that a bit more later, but I think it's the differentiation between Zachary Levi's performance and Asher Angel's performance. Zachary Levi is much more upbeat, much more goofy, and much more, kid-like in his mannerisms, but not just overplay it. Asher Angel is much more down-to-earth. He seems much more mature than his, for want of a better word, adult counterpart. Meanwhile, the performance that what's his name? Jack Dylan Grazer is given as Freddy is much more upbeat and much more animated and much more kid-like. I just feel like, and this, I mean, Asher Angel, I don't know what he's been in, but you say this Jack Dylan Grazer guy, he's been in It. So maybe, I mean, I'm sure the cast of people knew what they were doing, and it's the road less traveled. It's the what if scenario. We don't know if it would have been better.
It's probably because Jack was a name that they knew going into the movie. Asher Angel, the only thing he's really done previously is Asher Angel was in a Disney XD show.
Oh, boo!
Well,
but it's the one. Even more.
It's the one with the gay kid, Andy Mack.
You say that like you expect me to know what the hell you're talking about.
I just remember that everyone was freaking out because there's a Disney show with like a child who says that he is gay, like explicitly. And it's like the first Disney property to like ever do that. Explicitly
says, "Hi, I am a homosexual. Pleased to meet you."
Yeah, like there's an episode where he's talking to one of his friends about a crush and he reveals that he has a crush on a boy. And then I saw a video of him explicitly like coming out to his friends as gay, and they're like, "Cool."
Okay, I had no idea about this show. Kind of wish I did though. Disney, you officially get one good job sticker from me. Like, if you could just now do that in fucking Frozen with Elsa, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, I want that Evan Rachel Wood character to be your girlfriend.
Oh, it's played by Evan Rachel. I did not know that. Okay, yeah, because I'm going to save my thoughts on the Frozen trailer for an upcoming episode, Capers. Stay tuned. Dun, dun, dun. But so nothing against Asher Angel. I think that the kid who played Freddy would have been slightly better. That's just my opinion, though. And, I'm perfectly happy with the way things turned out. So, Billy doesn't really fit in well with his new family. No surprise there. And he kind of gives up on finding his mum at this point. He throws his notebook of all the details about his mum away, which is found later by Pedro. And meanwhile, Thad has not been resting on his laurels. He has been conducting, with the help of scientists, a with scientists who I think is actually, if I remember this right, I think that's the wife of the director.
She was a little bit over the top. Like she was kind of annoying.
She was kind of annoying. I think that was so that you wouldn't feel bad about her when she, gets disintegrated.
Yeah, which is horrifying.
Oh god, yeah, that was horrifying. Like that's something I want to bring up. Like this is very much in the vein of like classic 80s kids adventure movies. Like that's like the Explorers or the Goonies, whatever. Only good. But I tell you that I like Explorers. I don't like the Goonies. Fuck you, Goonie lovers.
Never seen either.
Explorers is kind of fun, if not a bit weird. Goonies is just annoying, but anyway. But here's the thing: over here, it's rated like 12A, which means a lot of kids can see it, and there's swearing and violence and disintegrations and stuff, and some kind of scary moments that aren't really that appropriate for children. So, yeah, I can't honestly say that this is a 15 movie. Rated 15 here in the UK. I don't know would that be rated R in the US?
No, PG-13.
PG-13. What was it? Would that
I
be
think yeah, Shazam was rated PG-13. So they got one fuck. They didn't use it, but they get one fuck.
Yeah.
That's the PG-13 rating, is that you get one fuck.
Kids, you can tolerate one fuck, but you can't have two. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Detective Pikachu was supposed to be PG-13, and I was so excited, and then they brought it down to PG, and I'm really sad.
I think that's fair. Pikachu, let's be honest. But anyway.
But I wanted to hear him say fuck.
I mean, I also want to hear Pikachu say fuck at one point. That's a lifelong dream of mine, but I'm afraid it's just not in the cards. We just have to make do with Meowth saying shit that one time. Anyway. Anyway, and so he's been conducting like what's masquerading as like a sociology experiment into mass hysteria, when actually he's looking ever since childhood for information about the Rock of Eternity and how to get back there. Because it turns out other people have been selected by Shazam and been rejected by him over the years. And eventually, using the fact that one of the people that they spoke to managed to get some footage of it, discerns some symbols that appeared like in his Magic 8 Ball when he was a kid and in this woman's alarm clock. And he managed to replicate the symbols on a door, and it becomes a portal of the Rock of Eternity, which for some reason disintegrates the lady who's conducting the experiment, the wife of the director. That never happens again in the movie. Like, there's other doors to other realms later on in the movie, and no one gets disintegrated. And when she gets disintegrated, it's like horrifying. She screams and melts and turns to ash, and you see a skeleton, and it's very cool, and it's just like, shit. Fuck.
I think the idea maybe is that you have to be worthy enough to be evil or worthy enough to be good. It's just we don't get anyone else to test that theory on.
Either that, or it's a plot hole that the writers forgot about. Moving on.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, Savannah, Thad, sorry, I will call him Thad, gets back to the Rock of Eternity, and he sees Shazam, and she's like, hey, Shazam, remember me? Gonna steal your glowing orb of destiny. And this frees the 7 deadly sins, who become these CGI monsters that you can't tell the difference between. And,
yeah.
He gets this like cool lightning bolt thing scar on his over his eye, and the glow orb thing becomes his eye and like shoots into his head. And a very it's shot very well, but oh my god, that was violent. Jeez.
And then he becomes Sans from Undertale.
Who?
There's a video game called Undertale. It's very popular.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
A character with a blue eye who's bald, who is very, very powerful.
I've never played it, so I didn't know that. But okay, Undertale fans, little reference for you.
Yeah.
And so, what does Savannah use with his new powers now that he's like not the champion, but he's got the powers he's wanted since he was a kid? I'll tell you what he does. He goes to his dad's office and says, like, hi, Dad, hi, older brother, bye, older brother, flings him out of the window.
That was another thing that I was like, they just threw a man from, like, an 80-story building.
Yeah, and then he sicks the 7 deadly sins on the rest of all the board executive members, whilst the receptionist backs off from the semi-translucent glass that's featuring them pressed up against the glass, desperately trying to scrabble their way to safety, only to hear like the bone-crunching sounds that they've been torn apart and eaten. All the while, John Glover, who's in a wheelchair now, because, a little car crash isn't going to kill him, just like horrified and just like, oh god, and just watching all these people getting eviscerated. And I'm like, shit, fuck, this is for children. This is for children. Those children I mentioned earlier, they were squirming in their seats. They could have been like more than 14, 15 or something like that. And they were uncomfortable, clearly. I was uncomfortable, fuck.
Yeah, oh god, that was like, I mean, if you want to have a show of force for your villain, you did it.
Yeah, you did it. And then he's just like, he berates his dad and stuff. He's like, yeah, I've got power, shit, blah, 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 random supervillain speech. And this brings me on to Mark Strong. Now, Mark Strong is a terrific actor. He is phenomenal. He really is.
Right.
However, he is possibly the most uncharismatic choice you could make for this villain. I'm not expecting him to be like a Saturday morning cartoon villain, to be like, next time, He-Man, or whatever. But he doesn't give a monotone performance, but it's not very forceful. It's not very... You can tell he's trying, I guess. He's not being lazy, but... aside from his powers, he's kind of boring.
In the time of like really great villain, but I think that like part of it is just like he's just not the point. Like it's not the movie isn't about him, and even though it kind of tries to make it seem like it is, it doesn't matter what he's like because it's all about Billy and his growth.
I guess, but he is also like the primary antagonist. So
right.
I don't know. Maybe they're just like they don't want to overshadow the inevitable Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson appearance, but.
Oh yeah, and they reference him in that a little bit later on. They reference Black Adam, and I'm like so hyped for when he comes in.
Yeah, and so meanwhile at school, at Fawcett High, there's another little reference. Billy and the other kids are going to school, and Billy does not hug Darla, so I hate him. And before that though, a car comes careening round, goes heavily on the curb, and knocks down Freddy, the disabled kid. These two kids immediately start berating and harassing and physically assaulting Freddy. A crowd full of witnesses. There is no way these kids don't get suspended for driving into a disabled child and then proceeding to attack him.
Yeah, that like even in the U.S. where they're white and they can get away with anything, don't.
It's like, this is an age where every single kid has a phone that takes video. Tell me not one of those kids took a snapshot of that, took a quick video of that, of them verbally berating and harassing this kid. It's just like, there are no... there are consequences, but there are no legal or disciplinary repercussions for these two bullies. They appear throughout the movie. And
if anything, they parked like in front of the school after school had ended, which is also a little bit weird. Because we see them pulling up into the same space later on before school starts. So where were they the entire day, and why did they just decide to show up at the end of the day?
I guess they just... I guess like maybe their dad is Trump, and they think they can get away with anything. It's like Eric and Don Jr. That's who they are.
Yep, exactly.
But Billy does not take this lying down, and he hurts him a little bit and then runs away. And they try and chase him all the way down to a subway. And then on the subway, he gets chosen by Shazam. And he's just like, okay, so this dude, this bald-headed Lex Luthor-looking motherfucker, makes sense, like he's his dad. He stole like this Eye of Sin glow stick shit, and I kind of need a champion, like, right now. Pardon me while I give you the visual backstory to my whole deal that I did not give to Thaddeus earlier when he first met me. Like, I guess you're special or something. And then he says, "Look, I need a champion. I need someone who's pure of heart, but time's running out now. So you'll have to do." Here's the thing, though. In the Jeff Johns run, or the New 52 origin story of Shazam, Shazam is looking for a champion that's pure of heart, and he says, "I need someone who's pure of heart. Billy Batson, you're not pure of heart." And Billy's like, "Yeah, guess what? No one is. You say you're looking for someone who's entirely pure of heart? Well, guess what? You're never going to find them, you moron." And Sham's like, "Huh, that's a very good point, and you're wise enough to realize that. Maybe you could possibly, with time, become my champion. Here's my powers." Right. But in this movie, he's like, "Oh, you know what? I fucked around too much. I ran out of time. I procrastinated a lot on this." Sorry?
He says it. He says it. It's like, "I'm not pure of heart."
Yeah, but it's not in the same context.
He's like, "Well, I don't have time to worry about it." Yeah, he says, "I don't have time to worry about whether or not you are."
Yeah, so it's not the same context. It doesn't have the same impact, I feel. It's like, I like the idea that this 14-year-old kid, this troubled foster kid, gives this ancient, centuries-old wizard a piece of his mind and actually succeeds. I really liked that, and actually taught him something, and that's why he was worthy to have the power. Here, it's literally just a last resort, so the power could have gone to anyone, really. And yes, maybe Billy was the only one who could sort things out later, but then again, it could have gone to someone who could have sorted everything out earlier. And so I think it kind of messes with the journey of Billy a little bit. I'm not into Chosen One stories as a whole, but I am into the idea of someone becoming the Chosen One by earning it. So I just prefer that version. But in any case, so he just was like, "Hold on to my staff." Wait, they told me about this. Is this some stranger? No, my wooden staff. No, okay, that is definitely stranger danger, bad touch. My giant staff, like, here, just hold this. Oh, that, right, okay, right, fine.
The ew was so good. It's just, ew. I don't want to touch it.
No, and then he's like, "Say my name." "Yeah, I don't know your name. My name is Shazam." "Okay, Shazam." Boom! I'm Chuck.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he's Chuck. Wizard disintegrates. He becomes one with the Force.
Yeah.
And now he is. This is so weird because we can't call him Captain Marvel because he's not Captain Marvel. So we call him Shazam.
No, they spend the entire movie trying so much to not call him Captain Marvel.
Anyway, and so now he's Shazam. He's in the suit that doesn't look 100% awesome, but does look 90% awesome, which is enough.
I like it a lot. I think that it works really well for this over-the-top looking character.
Yeah, and it looks cool, and Zachary Levi fills it out rather nicely. Even though, okay, again, going back to casting, Zachary Levi would not be. I think I mentioned this before. Zachary Levi would not be my first choice of casting for this.
Yeah, it was give a very good performance. Nowhere. I was so I was actually really surprised when they cast him because, obviously, I think he has the comedy chops for it. I was so used to him in Chuck that I just don't see him as a buff guy.
Yeah.
At all. And that's when
my God, we forgot that he was in Thor.
I mean, yeah, but, he wasn't a buff guy in that either.
No, that's a good point, yeah. Actually, I think we did mention he was in Thor, but yeah.
Yeah, but when they were doing, the first, idea for this movie in, 2000, with, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam, I was actually really disappointed because I thought he would have been a fantastic Billy.
Yeah, a fantastic Shazam, you mean? I think if he was playing young 14-year-old Billy Batson, that might raise a few questions.
Yeah. I'm a child in an adult body really, really well. Yeah. But I like Zachary Levi a lot, and I think he did a very good job.
Do you know who I would have cast in this movie as Shazam, as the adult Shazam? I would have cast John Cena.
I don't like John Cena much as an actor.
Well, that's because he's done a few action roles here and there, but more recently he's been doing some comedy stuff. He was in that movie Blockers, which I actually found very funny.
Yeah, I saw him in Trainwreck, and I feel like he's he's more of a gimmick actor. Like, look, we have John Cena, more than like actually like, oh man, John Cena, this is gonna be good.
I don't know. I think I see something more of him. I think it's quite fun. I think he can play the role, and he's got much more of that square-jawed look that Zachary Levi doesn't. Like, Zachary
Right.
Levi looks good and embodies the role very well, but he does still kind of look, and maybe it's just the fact that I know him as Chuck so much, he kind of looks like a nerd in a supersuit. I don't know.
Right.
And that's not... I'm sorry, are we keeping you up? I know you just woke up, Alex.
No, I know. No, I yawn. Oh, I'm bad at not yawning.
Sorry. And I don't know. I feel bad because he does such a great job in the role of Shazam. I just think John Cena, again, it's the road less traveled, we'll never really know, might have been slightly better in certain aspects. I don't know. But I'm fine with how things turned out. So, Shazam, just to make sure we change that, Shazam goes back to the Foster house and, like, says, hey, Freddy, you're like an expert on superheroes. You've got like a genuine bullet that was impacted on Superman that with like a certificate of authentication, which is so cool because, do you know why that is so cool? Because that is legitimately something that would exist in a real world with superheroes.
Right. Oh yeah, I love that Freddy is always wearing a Justice League shirt of any kind. He's always like he's got the Batarang, he's got the bullet, he's like he is so super into DC superheroes, and I think that's something that I've always loved about the DC universe in general is that like they are like icons in the public eye. They've always been like pop culture figures, which is why in like when Avengers JLA happened, Captain America thought they were all fascists.
Yeah. Oh god. Actually, his love of superheroes actually plays very much into the story because he's the guy who kind of has to teach Billy what kind of powers he has and how to use them. He's just like, because Billy doesn't know that much about it. So,
and he reads scientific studies about superpowers, which like how did no one think about this in a world in superheroes? There would be no scientific studies about superheroes.
Yeah, and not like super soldier projects or shit like that. Just like people peer reviewing and publishing like stuff like could Superman bench press 12 buses?
Right. And like the fact that like the psychological experiments of like asking people what kind of superpower they would have is an actual like study because people do actually have superpowers in this world. A lot of people.
Yeah, too many in some cases, but anyway. And so they go through the classic sort of like, let's test your powers montage and let's see what we can do. And they sort of have a night out on the town where he defends someone from a mugger and defends like a shot from
he tries to.
Well, he tries. You know what I love about
he tries. She's handled it.
Yeah, I love about that. They could have so easily done the classic, I saved the day, man. Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. But like, no, I already pepper sprayed him. No, I was fine. I'm kicking his ass. Like, I've already called the police and stuff. Like, she's got it.
Yeah.
She's great.
She's more scared of Shazam than she is of the mugger.
Yeah, and it's very, may I say, it's a very good feminist moment, I will say that. And later on, they go to a convenience shop, and it's like the classic, I'd like to buy some of your finest beer, please.
One of my favorite shorts from DC when they were doing animated shorts was Shazam going into an R-rated movie and being horrified and running out, and that just felt like such like that moment to me.
Well, they did that later on where Billy and Freddy, as Shazam, go into a strip club.
Yeah, there's that too.
We won't spoil that for you, capers. Like, there's full spoilers in this, but yeah, we're not going to spoil that. It's too clever. it's too classic. But anyway, and then they start posting stuff on YouTube, and they give them several names, like the Red Cyclone and all sorts of other names, just not Shazam.
Captain Sparklefingers.
Captain Sparklefingers, yeah, that's my personal favourite. Although that sounds like someone who's really good at a very specific sex act, let's be honest. But anyway, but the night comes to a close, and Billy's and Freddy are just like, okay, great, but how am I going to turn back? And they accidentally they accidentally go into Dara's room.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's Darla. Darla's
Darla.
not Darla. I'm thinking of someone else.
Fair.
And so they go into Darla's room, and she's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And they covers her mouth, just like, "Okay, how do I turn it back? I don't know. The guy just said Shazam. Oh, I'm Billy again." And then we figured out. I'm glad they figured out how it worked pretty fucking quickly. But then they swear Darla to secrecy, and you can. She's so cute because she can't keep a secret.
No, she wants to so bad. She's trying so hard, but she can't.
Meanwhile, and then later on in school, Freddy brags to the classmates about knowing who Shazam is, ripping that plot thread off from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, right.
Sorry?
Right, yeah. It's been a while since I saw that movie.
He's kind of blatant, and then Billy says, "Oh, fine, I'll turn up at school, but I don't really want to." And it's like, hey, you're like, I don't really like all this superhero stuff. And it's the classic sort of rift between them that's building up, and I'll be honest, it's fine, but it's kind of cliched and kind of like obvious, like, oh, this is that point in the movie
where they have to fight, yeah.
Yeah, and then later on, Shazam is showing off in front of a crowd as like saying like
lightning from my hands. Lightning from my hands.
Lightning from my hand. And he accidentally causes a school bus to crash. And so he saves the school bus, and not only is it a very tense scene, not only is it a very action-oriented scene, not only is it a very good character scene, it's also really funny, because he's trying to put the bus down after having caught it, and there's a dog in the way!
He won't move, he's moved so slowly.
I was laughing my tits off watching that scene, it was so funny.
I also think that the implication is at like, and I don't know if this how legit this is, but since like Thaddeus shows up right after that, I think he's the one who actually derailed that bus.
We don't know that.
They don't explicitly say it or anything, but I think he did to get the attention of whatever the champion is.
Because he does conveniently turn up at that very moment. It's like, oh, so you're the champion, and the seven deadly sins in his hand, like, you gotta defeat him and get all of his power, that way you become the most uber powerful. And, so they have a little bit of a scrap, and Shazam does not come off it very well, because Zavanna is grown up with the powers, and he's just a kid, and he knows how to use them much more. And, you know, I thought, okay, this is a big first action scene. No! Shazam runs away! In the most hilarious, yet also kind of tense scene ever. Because Zavanna, he's like the fucking juggernaut. He's like, he's like a Terminator. He never gives up. He keeps following him through buildings.
Never gives up.
Through, like, department stores. Like, Shazam tries to hide in a changing room. He, like, opens up the changing, rips off the changing room door. They run through a toy shop. He, like, Batman toy at him. Like, fight him, Batman!
Get a Batman, and it says like, I'm Batman, as he tosses it.
And this is the thing, though. See, this is the thing. You see, this is why I bring up this disparity between Asher Angel's performance and Zachary Levi's performance. Asher Angel, as 14-year-old Billy Batson, never acts this goofy. He never does it. So, and maybe you could blame Zachary Levi for that. Like, he could be more grounded. But then it's like, what's the point of having a kid in an adult's body? You know?
Right.
But anyway, and so he eventually transforms back into his 14-year-old self and escapes into the crowd. But Freddy, like, is in the crowd as well, just trying to find him, like, Billy, where are you, Billy? And Zavanna puts two and two together, eventually captures him and goes to, you know, the foster home. The parents are out trying to look for Billy, and so he gets all the kids together. It's just like, okay, so yeah, hostage time, kids.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, before this is going on, actually, they tell Billy that they found his notebook with all the information about his mother, and Eugene, being, I guess, a fucking genius and succeeding where the police and social services have failed, managed to find his mum by apparently hacking into the federal database.
I'm not a hacker, but I've played Watch Dogs, and like I think I picked a little thing up, and I got in a government database. He's great.
Okay, sure, yeah, why not? I believe he's a hacker the same way I believe the kid from Jurassic Park is a hacker, sure. But anyway, they find his location of his mother. He goes to his mother, like, "Hi, Mum, it's me. Ooh, is that a not very nice social situation you're in right now? Not nice living conditions? Oh dear." It turns out, what a surprise, his mum abandoned him at the theme park, not intentionally at first, but then she saw him with the police and realised, oh shit, like, I was a teenager, my dad had kicked me out, I had no idea what he was doing. It turns out Billy remembers the interactions between him and his mum differently. Like, he remembers it being, like, very happy, and she remembers it being, like, very tense and just, like, barely holding it together.
Right.
Which was very effective, I thought.
Oh, yeah. I love that kid who's playing him as a baby. He's so cute.
Yeah, it is very cute. And, yeah, and she abandoned him just because she thought someone else could give him a better life. She was kind of right, to be honest, in fairness.
Right, yeah.
Eventually. And she's just not really equipped to be a mum, it turns out. And he kind of walks away from her and doesn't really... it looks like that's it. He's given up on his mum. Gets a call from Freddy like, "Help! Supervillain! Help!" And then he does the most badass thing ever. Does he go onto the street? Does he say Shazam right there? No. He runs to the roof, jumps off the roof of the building, yelling Shazam! And he flies. Previously he couldn't fly, but then he managed to learn later on in his first fight with Savannah. He learns to fly and chases after them, and he gets back to the home, faces Savannah, and he says, "Okay, look, I'll sort this whole power shit out with you. I'll give him her powers in exchange for, sparing the kids' lives." And, however, they go to the Rock of Eternity, but all the other kids follow them to the Rock of Eternity.
Yeah.
And hijinks happens, and it gives Shazam and the kids time to escape, where they find, like, this room full of all these weird doors leading to, like, crocodiles playing poker,
aliens, yeah.
And I believe, and all sorts of nasty shit going on. And it's so cool because there's no explanation given to any of this shit, but it's weird and trippy. And it feels like...
They like half-assedly mention like 7 realms. So like I would assume those are the doors to the other realms, but like they don't matter that much.
I guess. Interesting fact. The director, David S. Sandberg, did the motion capture, I think, for all 3 of the crocodile men. So that's
good.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
And also, I mean, this feels like something that should have been in Doctor Strange. I don't know.
I never saw Doctor Strange, actually.
Okay, so you're dead to me. Just saying.
I had zero desire. I don't like Benedict Cumberbatch. I was not into it after the whole Tilda Swinton thing. No, I haven't seen Captain Marvel either. So it's the two Marvel movies MCU movies I haven't seen is Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange, and I have zero desire to see Doctor Strange.
I mean, they're not the best Marvel movies, I'll grant you, but they're good. And like, I get the Tilda Swinton thing, I really do. What have you got against Benedict Cumberbatch? He's lovely. He's a gentleman.
He's annoying. He's in everything, and he's ugly.
Wow. Okay. Seeing a side of you that I wasn't very...
He's so just like the most milquetoast, boring... Like, I'm going to put him in everything. And he's like... He wasn't good in Intimidation Game. Like, he wasn't, like... I don't know. He's boring. And there's some stuff about, like, him saying dumb things about Sherlock fans, which I don't care because I don't like Sherlock. I've never seen Sherlock and I don't care about it. But, like, I don't know. He just is the most boring person in the world to me.
On behalf of my entire nation, how dare you?
Okay, I know people in the UK who are fed up with him too. So, like...
I mean... Can't you, like, differentiate the actor and his performance? Like, he's playing a character, he's not being Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay, that's the problem though. He doesn't ever play anything different. So like he's just the same character every single time.
But we're not going into this now. This review's going on too long already. Jeez. So they manage to get back to their home, and they realise, oh shit, we've got to get out of here before Savannah turns up. And so, and at this point, one of them threw like Freddy's batarang thing at Savannah when the 7 deadly sins were out of his body, because they sort of come out of his body, and then he starts bleeding. But when they go back into his body, he stops bleeding. It's like, oh, okay, clever. When the 7 deadly sins are out of his body, he becomes less powerful. That's a really cool twist, and something that I didn't realise throughout the movie.
Yeah, he's just that's something that like it's like okay, they're just gonna like punch him to death. That's what's gonna happen. And I didn't like I didn't put it together until like they started explicitly explaining it. I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
And so the Shazam family, let's just call them that, run to the carnival, like we saw like from the beginning.
It's called okay for anyone, and I know you don't, but for anyone who watched My Brother and Me TV show, it's called Philadelphia. And the person I saw it with, also one of the people I saw it with, was also a big fan of My Brother and Me, and we could not stop laughing. It's like there is just a line in My Brother and Me where they take over a town that was supposed to teach kids how to drive, and they each have different sections, and one of them is called Philadelphia.
Okay. When you said My Brother and Me, I thought like you were referring to yourselves and you were in a TV show, and I like you kept that on your hat. Jeez.
No, I've got a million brothers. It's fine.
Okay. Okay, fine. I did not understand a word you said about that. I don't get that reference at all, but I'm sure if you did, you're very happy right now. So, so they go there, and what's funny here is there's a Father Christmas who was also in the shopping mall where Shazam and Savannah previously fought, and as soon as he sees them, he just like freaks the fuck out, just like, everybody run! Shit, run!
I love that Santa.
It's funny. And so, the fight, Shazam tries to like help as many people as they can, and fight the sins and fight Savannah, and the Spirit of Infinity, he just can't do it alone. Right. So he took the staff with him from the Rock of Eternity, and shares his power with all the other members of the Shazam family, which I didn't think they were going to do.
I was so happy. I like the second he was like grabbed the staff, I was like, yes, very loudly, and then everyone revealed. Yeah, it was such a great moment.
It was so great, and so they all become adult versions of themselves, and the adult version of Freddy is played by Adam Brody from the OC.
Oh, jeez. I know I recognize some of them, but I couldn't figure out why.
Seth Cohen finally became a superhero.
Yeah.
This is just great. So, Adam Brody plays, I guess his name would be Captain Marvel Jr. Yeah,
they call it in the credits, they're all called Superhero Freddy, Superhero Darla, Superhero... Like, they're not called, their superhero names because they can't.
Yeah.
Which, legally, I think technically they can. They just don't want to, because that would be way too confusing.
It would be way too confusing. Megan Good plays adult Darla, who is equally adorable.
My name is Darla, and I've been really good this year.
Oh.
My favorite line.
She says that to Father Christmas after she says him later on, and it's like, it's funny because she's a little kid and she thinks Santa is real, and she's like gets super impressed by Santa, but at the same time, like, you knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing, movie. God. Michelle Borth plays adult Mary Marvel. Ross Butler plays adult Eugene, who I'm just going to say is dreamy.
Oh, yeah, he's so, like, he knows he's dreamy. He's like, look at these guns.
I mean, I'm not gay, but if I was, I would be gay for him. Oh, so good.
And he makes video game references when he uses his powers.
He actually says Shoryuken or Hadouken or something. Like,
yeah.
That's so cool. DJ Cotrona plays adult Pedro. I like the first thing he does is like feel his beard. Like, why do I have a beard? That's
Yeah.
so cool. And so
He's also hot.
he is also hot. Well, I mean, like if I was gay and into bears, like oh, he would do me right. He would do me right. And so, oh god, and so they're all there, and it's so cool, and it's a really special moment as well. And Adam Brody does this really well when Freddy is A standing without the use of a crutch, and his B starts flying. And you can tell, not only is this a super important moment for him as a disabled person, but also as someone who is so into superheroes and so wants to be a superhero.
Yeah, it's like, well, then the whole discussion of would you rather fly or be invisible, and he's wanted to fly so bad. And he floats while flipping off the monsters, which is so great.
Another for kids movie.
Yeah.
God.
I wish this was a little bit more explicit, but like it does kind of hint at the fact that they all have all the powers, but there's one of them that they're each better at than everyone else. They don't go into it, and you don't notice that they have all the powers until you see them all flying towards the end. But like it's clear that Mary got the wisdom because she doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, consider the fact that Mary Marvel, as I understand it, was like the second biggest person in the Shazam family, second only to Shazam / Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So
she's Captain Marvel in Bombshells.
As well she should be. So they all fight Savannah and the Seven Deadly Sins and help protect the civilians at the Winter Park, including the two bullies who get atomic wedgied.
No, they get suitcase wedgied.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know the difference between the two wedgies. Sorry.
Well, because they reference it earlier is that Freddy got suitcase wedgied. And you know what suitcase wedgie is? They pick you up by the underwear and walk you down the hallway.
Oh,
and then he does that to them when he's picking them up from the Ferris wheel.
Because they had got some comeuppance before when Shazam off-screen just like cubed their car. That was a funny scene.
Like tosses it up into the sky.
Like literally, they turn around, the car is gone. It's like, where's the car? And it's so cool. They know they just parked there, but they're so disorientated. It's like their brains can't process it, and then the car crashes down. That's funny, but someone is going to have to tow that. Like that's a public nuisance thing right there. But anyway, so they managed to fight off the thing, and then Savannah and Shazam go off in their own sort of thing. They do the whole classic supervillain square off thing, floating in the air, and Mark Strong gives his big supervillain speech, but he's so far away that Shazam can't hear him.
Yep.
And you know what? It's funny, but I just wish at some point during his speech he would like trail off and realize, oh shit, he can't hear me, can he?
No, he just keeps going.
Because this is the thing, they don't. I mean, he's very intimidating, and Mark Strong just makes him very serious. But they could have just injected just a little bit of humor, just a little bit of humor, just a tiny little bit, like in this one bit. But they don't. And
that this fight between them, like the entire the between the buildings and stuff, is like shot for shot an homage to Man of Steel.
Yeah, except done right.
No, I mean it was done right in Man of Steel too. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but I remember that fight scene being fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome when Superman, defender of truth, justice, and all innocent people everywhere, crashed through buildings and allowed people to die horribly whilst he was so focused on his grudge match with Beardy Weirdy.
Yep, and he was punished for it.
Yeah, but in this movie, they don't do that. They have the superhero fight, and there's a little bit of destruction here and there, but it's minimized, and they're doing the Avengers thing, but they're trying to help as many people as they can along the way and being fucking responsible. But anyway, and then it turns out, wait a minute, we've only seen 6 Deadly Sins. Where's Greed? Apparently Greed's been inside Savannah this whole time. Thad, this whole time of the movie. And then Shazam, tempts Greed out, finally does so, causes Thad to lose all of his powers. He defeats Greed, and then manages to, pull the eye out of Thad. And then, the day is saved. The 7 Deadly Sins end up trapped back in the Rock of Eternity. They deliver the gross eye thing back to the Rock of Eternity. and like the day is saved, and Billy becomes properly part of the family. He does like they do this thing at mealtime, so they put all the hands in, and he puts his hand in, and it's really nice and sweet. Shazam, the whole family are hailed as superheroes. Shazam broke the staff of Shazam, which means I guess he's not going to be able to give his powers to the other Shazam family members again. I don't know.
I mean, I think they kind of just like a little bit glossed over. They glossed over a lot of things at the end. It's just kind of you got to accept it for what it is.
Yeah. Throughout the movie as well, Freddy and Billy have been trying to find like a place to call their secret lair. They decided to use the Rock of Eternity as the secret lair. Bit gloomy, and it's got like evil statues in it, but sure, why not? And then Billy fulfills his promise to Freddy by showing up as Shazam at school to, you know, sit and have lunch with Freddy, and it's really nice. And then he reveals he also brought a friend with him, a stand-in for Superman.
Yeah. I mean, this is the one tiny scene that made everyone freak out that Henry Cavill was no longer Superman.
Yeah.
Like, that was so dumb. Like, he was busy. He was doing other shit. Let Henry Cavill have a career outside of DC and still be able to come back and do DC things. Like...
Or this is so annoying. Here's what I would have done. I would have ended this movie on, like, him just showing up to lunch and maybe, like, ended on a joke or him showing off with his Shazam powers or something. And then do, like, a mid-credit scene where he's standing on a roof and then he sees Superman and Superman's just like, hey, I want to talk to you about the Justice League initiative. Or here's a better idea. Why didn't you get an actor that could actually show up like Aquaman or Gal Gadot or something? Like,
right. I mean, I think the point of that was that Freddy's favorite superhero is Superman, so it had to be Superman.
Maybe, I guess, but at the same time, like, how did he meet? When did he meet? Why did Superman, who's kind of a busy guy, agree to show up to this random high school? Like, okay, yeah.
Okay, if any of the Justice League members were going to do it, it would have been Superman.
Yeah,
I don't
in the
Wonder Woman
comics,
doesn't
maybe,
care.
or in
Aquaman,
the cartoons, but not in the movies. In the movies,
maybe
he's a
the
grumpy
Flash
bastard.
too. Maybe the Flash would do it too.
I heard Ezra Miller's act as the Flash, though, so...
Ezra Miller thinks that Ezra Miller said he wanted to keep doing it, but they won't give him any news on the Flash movie, which sucks, because that means they cut out Kelsey Clemens entirely from Justice League, and she never really gets to be Iris, which I was really excited for.
Yeah, and it's fair enough then. Like, if either like commit to us doing a movie together, or I'm just going to go and do other stuff because I'm not going to hang around. I think that's fair. So, I mean, it's a fine ending, but I think it could have been a bit better just for me, just like from a wish fulfillment standpoint. But we get a mid-credit scene where Savannah is in jail, and it's just like he's clearly, and the one actually kind of cool, genuinely cool thing with him outside of pure mindless destruction is him like writing the symbols on the awards thing and like having a proper freak out. And here's the thing, earlier in the movie, when he first went into the Rock of Eternity, we saw in a little glass jar this caterpillar thing. Later on, when we went to Rock of Eternity, the glass caterpillar thing was broken, and the caterpillar was gone. And it turns out he's a Captain Marvel Shazam villain called Mr. Mind, voiced by the director again, who's like got a plan to take over the Seven Realms.
Yeah. When I first heard it, though, like when they didn't really show him, and I kind of heard the voice, I was like, oh my god, it's the Brain. Why the Brain? Really? Why? And it's not the Brain.
It's not the French Brain who's in a love affair with a giant gorilla. No. That'd be fun.
No, they're gonna do that in Doom Patrol. They hinted at him. They're gonna do it. I fucking love that show.
Doom Patrol is very good. I'm not caught up with it, but it's
so good.
Very good.
It's hard to be caught up with it when you're not in the US because it's only going to be on Netflix after the season comes out.
Yeah.
And DC Universe doesn't really exist outside the US, or does it, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it is annoying. But here's the thing with the Mastermind thing. Like, I know nothing about Mastermind. All I know is he's an old time Shazam villain. But I only know him from the Jeff Johns run, and there was a cliffhanger at the end of that origin story with Mr. Mind. I know they call him Mastermind. That would be actually kind of a cool name, but no, it's Mr. Mind. And So I kind of saw this coming. I thought, like, as soon as I saw the fact that Caterpillar was gone, I thought, oh, is that a teaser for a sequel? Or are they just going to show it at the end of the movie? They showed it at the end of the movie. But then we get another post-credit scene, and so many people left the theatre because DC, like, people don't think they're going to get post-credit scenes. They got them in this one.
Well, yeah, and I'm not a big fan of the 2 post-credit scenes at all, like, in any franchise. I think that it's stressful on the people trying to clear out the theater, like the people who actually work for the theater. They need to get people out so they can get more people in, and it's just not fair to anyone to make them sit that long.
But at the same time, it means you can, like, stick around and see all the people who worked very hard on the movie, like people that you wouldn't necessarily stick around for. They don't get a lot of recognition.
I mean, that's fair, but who's actually watching that? They're, like, staring at their phones waiting for the next credit scene.
Maybe I want to know who the gaffer is. You don't know. But in this post-credit scene, Freddy is testing whether or not Shazam can talk to fish, and there's a joke about the Aquaman movie, and that's basically it. And
yeah.
It's just kind of like a fun thing. And that's the movie. And there's a few nitpicks here and there, mainly about how I would have done things differently. Which, if that's the worst thing I could say about this movie, it's a pretty fucking excellent movie. It's a lot better than Aquaman, I'll say that much.
It does the Spider-Man, like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man thing of, like, having Philadelphia be a character in the movie. Like, the people of Philadelphia, civilians, and that's something that's been, like, sorely missing in general from superhero movies for a very long time. Yeah. And I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, and it was very cool. The whole thing about this movie is very cool, and they finally realised, DC finally cracked the formula about what makes a good superhero movie, which we always knew, but it took DC ages because, you know, they're so slow-cleared in the cast. It's about making your movie, whatever tone you go for, fun.
I hate that word. I hate it so much in reference to DC movies. I think that it's so reductive for films to have to be fun like that. Like,
but the fun means different things. You know, like let me put it. How can I put it this way? You wouldn't describe Schindler's List as fun, but it is entertainingly fun, if that makes sense. It's fun in an entertaining way. It's like it's horrible because it's about the Holocaust, but it's fun because the way it presents it in a way that we can absorb and is accessible to us as an audience, if that makes any sense. Meanwhile, you've got other movies that are just exploitative and like edgelord stuff, I don't know, and they're not fun to watch, even though they cover the same subject material, even the same tone. With relation to superhero movies, The Dark Knight is fun. Batman vs. Superman is not fun.
I, wholly disagree with that. Batman vs. Superman is my favorite Batman movie. It is beautiful. It sounds fantastic. I think that I liked it in the theaters, but I watched the extended cut, and I think I definitely understand a lot of people's mishaps with it. But I don't think saying that it's not entertaining is first of all, that's subjective. But secondly, saying that it's just not entertaining, I think is a disservice to it, because I think it's confusing. It's not entertaining though. Like the theatrical scene explaining, like giving a entirely different context to the speech that the senator gives inside the Senate hearing. Like, they changed the context entirely of that, because in the director's cut, she finds out that Lex has been lying to her the entire time, and she is going after him, and the speech is to him, like, I'm gonna fucking come get you. And the theatrical cut, it's her pointing at Superman because she never found that out, which is dumb.
I mean, you make a very good point, and that's a whole separate conversation about director's cut versus theatrical cuts. But, right. I mean, I stand by what I said with the fun aspect, because let's look at it another way. Let's look at Aquaman. We both really enjoy that movie, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Aquaman did have a lot of problems. It wasn't all problems, but there were some problems that were very serious. Many more problems than this movie or Wonder Woman or something like that. But because it was so fun, and I don't mean just fun just in an entertaining way, I mean fun in just like the way it presents its entertainment, it meant we could sort of ignore the problems a bit more. Not ignore, but just like the problems didn't matter so much.
Right. Yeah. I like, and like, I think for me with Batman vs Superman, I feel like there's so many moments where I'm like, fuck yes, that is so cool. And I love like that. That's what I really appreciate in superhero movies in general, is like having a moment where like I get chills because that is such a cool shot, or that is such a cool interesting idea that I didn't think of before, and like and that's I mean I even had those moments during Justice League, as much as I hate that movie.
I get that, but see, I'm less concerned about cinematography, although I do like shots and like action sequences that are really cool, and I'm much more concerned about character and plot and theme. But that's just the way I work, so it's fair enough. It's just about
I mean, I like the characters a lot. As much as I do not like what Zack Snyder said to people who are dissing his Batman, I do really appreciate it.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I want to say something to you, Zack Snyder. Now, Zack Snyder, what I want to say to you, Zack Snyder, is fuck you. But I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Here's what I'm going to say. Zack Snyder, listen to me. You are good at what you do. You have made movies in the past that are good. Clearly understood what it is you were trying to do. You had a clear vision, and you executed it very well. You do not get superhero movies. And I hate saying that you just don't get it, because that's, as you say, it's a very reductive thing to say. However, you have proven time and time again that you clearly don't get it. This is not your wheelhouse, and that's okay. Go make other stuff. You whine about how people don't like about how Batman kills people. Well, guess what? People don't like Batman killing people because that is not the character that we know and love. And here's the thing. I am on a rant here. You know what, Zack Snyder, you know what I want you to do? I want you to go and watch the first episode of the cartoon series Batman Beyond. Hey, you don't have to watch it. I'll spell it out for you. Batman, in the beginning of this series, is slightly older, he's slightly slower. A girl has been kidnapped by these gangs, they're going to kill her. Batman comes in, he defeats them, but this one gangster beats him up a bit. And he's got the upper hand. He's like, this is the Batman? I thought you were supposed to be impressive. And he nearly kills him. And Batman, in a moment of desperation, in a moment of like, he doesn't know what else to do, he's on the ground, he's bleeding, he picks up a gun and he points it at the... And the gangster stops what he's doing, he's like, oh shit, and runs away. And Batman throws down the gun in disgust. Not at the gun, but at himself. And later that night, after the hostage has been rescued, he goes to the Batcave, puts up his suit, walks away from it, and says, never again. And he stops being Batman. That is Batman. That is the character. That, his dedication to not killing people is so great. The second he felt that he had to kill someone just to save the day was the day he stopped trying to save the day. That is who the character is. That is the time when I actually, as a guy who hates Batman, actually liked the fucking character. That is Batman, and that is something you don't get. And if you don't get it, guess what? You shouldn't be making stories relating to it.
I think that I liked his interpretation mainly because people should be allowed to have different interpretations of different characters, and
they've got to be recognizable, though.
There's been tons of Batman series where he's old and he kills people like that, and they've been very popular. So I don't understand this idea that like he's not allowed to have his own interpretation, and it's not seen as a good thing ever in Batman vs Superman, and even when they talk about it for the brief mention that they do in Justice League, he's up and he's been trying to atone for it since the end of Batman vs Superman, and he's been trying to atone for it for forever because he knows that he fucked up. He lost after. I mean, I wish we got more context about this, but we never will because I don't think that Warner Brothers wants to go in that direction. Yeah. After he lost Robin, he gave up hope on people. He didn't believe that anyone can be redeemed. And one of his final lines in Batman vs Superman is, "Men are still good." Like, he has hope again, and he's trying to fix all the bullshit. His bullshit caused the number one hope symbol in the world to die. And he super uber regrets it. And that's the thing that I don't think people see in Batman vs Superman, is they don't think that it was condemned enough. And I don't think that's fair. Like, that I don't agree with Zack Snyder saying, if you don't think Batman kills people, fuck you. You're living in a naive world. I think it's just, this is a Batman that has been so broken and so horribly traumatized that he can't believe in people anymore. I mean, and that's something that is just, it's devastating.
I mean, you're absolutely right that people are entitled to their own perspectives and their own interpretation of the character, and there have been interpretations of Batman where he does kill. It's never been the mainstream version, and I think if you're going to name your movie Batman vs Superman, and you're going to reboot a character that is a pretty big icon, they should try and be as faithful to the character, and you could have him be more brutal and have him go in this darker sort of character arc. Fine, okay, great, but the Batman that I saw in that movie was not the Batman that, in any interpretation, I have even come close to liking. And maybe that's just me, but I think the fact that a lot of DC fans and general moviegoers also don't like that interpretation, and have called him out on it, and he's responded in this way, kind of gives an indication that maybe, just maybe, there's a possibility we've got a Batman vs Superman movie that dealt with those issues you mentioned, but was still a recognizable form of the character.
I think he's just fed up. I think that's probably why
I'm fed up!
Yeah, I think he has gotten so much shit over the years that, like, because of Batman vs Superman specifically, that I don't think he deserves. And, people were excited that his daughter committed suicide. Like, that is not okay.
That is objectively horrible. I agree. That is a horrible thing to say to anyone, and that is it's taken too far. But there are also the people who aren't, complete and utter arseholes, who are genuinely disappointed with that movie and his interpretation of a lot of the DC characters. And it's only now that DC are starting to move away from his way of doing things that people are actually starting to like these movies on a more general level. People like Wonder Woman and Shazam and Aquaman far more than any movie he has ever touched. And I think that says something.
Well, he touched both Wonder Woman and Aquaman. He had a heavy hand in both of those movies.
I was not aware of that, damn!
He is executive producer on both of those movies. And so is his wife. And he wrote a lot of the story. He didn't write the exact script, but he wrote the story for Wonder Woman. He had an interview. I don't remember who it was for, but he was talking about his direction for the franchise, for the entire universe, and he wanted Batman vs Superman to be the most bleak part of it, and then he was going to go up. Like, it was like, this is the darkest moment we will ever get, and then it's going to be hopeful, because that's what the DC universe is about. That's what Superman is about hope. And
that's a good idea. I'm not saying that's not a good idea. I'm saying the execution was poor.
Yeah, Warner Brothers didn't let him complete the vision that he wanted. And because he didn't get an opportunity to do it, all people ever saw was the worst part of it. Which sucks.
Then maybe go on the record and say, like, I had this vision and it didn't really work out that way. And at least...
He did!
Well, but that's the thing. We're going back to, like, fuck you about the whole Batman thing. Like, okay, if you stand by your work, fine, fair enough. And you don't like other people's reaction to your work, fine, fair enough. But maybe, I don't know, respect that, or at least acknowledge that they feel not great about it. Like, don't go around calling people naive just because they think the character that in the comics and cartoons and many other interpretations has sworn not to kill started killing people, and they didn't really like that.
He has said, he's talked about it several times. Talks about everything that he would have done with Justice League, everything he would have done with the universe, and he has acknowledged these things. It's just not the thing that gets publicity, and
that is fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah, it sucks that he gets so much shit, and I'm excited. He's doing like a new zombie thing for Netflix that I'm really excited for.
Great, best of luck with
And
that. I don't
yeah,
think like okay, so if anything, then best case scenario, these movies have failed despite his best intentions. Fine, fair enough. Like I have nothing against the guy personally. I don't think he's evil or wrong. I don't think he's a douchebag. I don't think he's a sexist. I don't think he's racist. I don't think he's any one of the things like Joss Whedon or David S. Goyer or whoever. All these horrible people have worked in the industry. But at least not that I'm aware of. But I don't think it works. I don't think he works out with him. And then we give people like David S. Sandberg and Patty Jenkins and whoever the fuck directed. Was it Justin Lin? Who directed Aquaman?
James Wan.
James Wan. That's
James
it. I
Wan.
always confuse the two. I don't know why. God. And we give it to all these other people with these other perspectives, and it just works better. Maybe that was his plan all along, is to say, maybe not. I don't know. All I know is the future is looking slightly bright for DC,
Oh yeah.
as we said before. But at the same time, other shit is going on. Suicide Squad, I guess that's kind of up in the air. But new cast members.
It's still happening. It's going to be before Guardians 3. So so doing his Superman ripoff, which is a horror movie, which he's doing Guardians 3.
All of that cut out, sorry.
He's doing a Superman movie that kind of looks like a horror movie. It's not actually Superman, but it has like the same premise.
James Gunn doing Brightburn.
Yeah, that one. And then he's doing Suicide Squad 2, and then
Guardians of the Fury.
Yeah, and then Guardians.
Yeah. What else is on? This thing seems
Birds of Prey.
But is
Birds
that
of
actually
Prey.
happening?
Oh yeah, there was a trailer. Did you not see it?
I did not see the trailer. No.
Oh my god, it's
actually no,
really...
I did. I think I did.
Yeah, it's like a teaser. They're all like dancing around. Oh my god, they all look so good.
And that's got Margot Robbie, Janice Smollett-Bell, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Rosie Perez, Chris Messina, and Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, he's gonna be Black Mask.
Oh, I have heard of this. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be cool.
So it's gonna be so good.
Harley Quinn, Black Canary, Huntress, and someone called Renee Montoya, who I don't know about.
Oh, she's one of Batwoman's ex-girlfriends. She's a lesbian cop, and like they said that like Rosie Perez is actually going to be playing a lesbian woman.
Okay then, who's Rosie Perez?
Yeah,
I don't know.
She's a Puerto Rican actress. She's been in a lot of things. She has a very distinct voice. I think if you ever saw Road to El Dorado, believe she was Shell in that.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
awesome.
I love her. She's so good. I'm Puerto Rican, so like I love all Puerto Ricans.
Okay, I have a friend in London who I think you get on very well. She's from Puerto Rico. If that's all it takes, apparently. I guess you're going to be best friends.
We're a tight group.
Yeah, so I mean that could be pretty cool. So that's what's up. When's that getting released?
That's next year. That's I think February of 2020. It's before Wonder Woman.
Okay. Wonder Woman 1984. I think you find.
Yeah. Wonder Woman 1984, which is the summer. I don't know why it got pushed back to summer. It seems to be done. And like Gal and Chris and Patty, they're all doing different things. Like the movie's done. They just want to release it during the summer for some reason.
And then we've got, at some point, assuming they managed to, have they actually confirmed a director for The Batman?
Yeah, it's always been Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves has been attached to that as a director since it was like him being announced as director was the announcement that Ben Affleck wasn't directing it.
Yep, and he's speaking of Affleck, he's not coming back as Batman, but he's still involved as producer.
I think I don't think it's because he's like done with the franchise. He loves the franchise, like he's been made that clear. He has a lot of personal problems. He's been in and out of rehab. Yeah, for a long time, and I think that like they just got fed up with waiting for him. So and I wish they weren't going for another young Batman. I'm so bored with the young Batman stories, but I think they have to so they can leave it open so maybe he can come back someday.
Maybe, but do we know who's actually going to be the new Batman? I mean, Michael B. Jordan's name's been floated a lot.
Yeah, I mean, no, but like, you know, I wrote an article for a place to hang a cape of people who would be good for it. It's no one that anyone is gonna pick, but I love it.
As someone who has done list articles featuring dream casting before, who has never once been actually gotten it right, I know your pain. I know your pain.
I think
I wanted Justin Hartley of Smallville and This Is Us fame to be Iron Fist.
Okay, yeah, I can. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, there's only one man on my list. It's five women and one man. So
why did I see that coming?
And the man's not even white. It's Terry Crews. Like,
I am 100% okay with it. Terry's Batman.
Yeah, Terry Crews Batman. I think Kate Blanchett.
Oh wow.
Stephanie Beatrice, Ruth Negga.
Meh.
Ming Na Wen.
Oh.
And there was one more, and I can't remember who it is. Off the top of my head.
This is just people you want to see do Batwoman cosplay, isn't it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, when they announced Birds of Prey was happening, people were saying Stephanie Beatrice should play Renee Montoya, but then they were like, no, she's going to be way older, so it can't be Stephanie Beatrice. Which
I mean, her being like the tough queer police officer. I mean,
yeah,
she doesn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, they're supposedly maybe off in the distance. The Green Lantern Corps movie still happening. Stephanie Beatrice would be a really good Jessica Cruz.
She would be awesome as that. I want to see Carl Rayner. Carl Rayner is the best Green Lantern.
I'm preferable to Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart is the second best Green Lantern. And Hal Jordan is
I've never liked Hal Jordan.
Hal Jordan is an...
I don't know.
Okay, so if I was going to give a ring that could summon anything you could imagine through your willpower, would I give it to the architect who was in the Marines, the graphic designer with the unlimited imagination, or this random fuckwit test pilot who's going to grow up to kill everyone in the Green Lantern Corps and have sex with a teenager? Sure, why not?
Yeah, and I've never... I'm not a Green Lantern person per se, but I really like Jessica. I think it's Jessica and Simon are the two big ones right now, and they're both Hispanic, and they're
the
great.
guy who has like the guns?
I don't know. I know his mask, and it's like it looks like a wrestling mask almost.
It looks kind of like a luchador, kind of like the mask from that superhero movie with the kid in the wetsuit. What's it called? It's oh god. It's based. Oh shit! What is that movie called? It's got Aaron Taylor Johnson and also Mark Strong. Actually, thinking about it, there's another connection there. Fuck.
I have no idea.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
Kick-Ass.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So we got that Green Lantern Corps, possible Flash movie, Aquaman 2. Also in development.
Yeah.
Possibly
Cyborg.
Possibly. It's never going to happen. Like.
Yeah, I like Ray Fisher a lot. I wish he could, but
he was so boring in that movie. I'm sure he could give a good performance, but he did not in that movie. One movie I would like to see: Lobo. Ooh.
Yeah, I think it's a weird choice, but sure.
Justice League Dark. Get what's his face from Guillermo del Toro. Now, I know who Guillermo del Toro is. I never say what's his face in relation to Guillermo del Toro. Thank you.
To direct, he had a. He wrote a script for it. He posted a tweet about scripts that he wrote that never got produced, and Justice League Dark was on that script, or it was on that list. And he is supposed to he's like, I don't have the time for it right now, and would want to produce it, but I think he would be so good. He just has way too many things going on.
I just want the guy who plays Constantine on the TV series to play him in the movie.
Yes, he's so good. I still watch Legends of Tomorrow. It's the only CW show other than Black Lightning, but Black Lightning's not in the same universe. For him, he's so good. I mean, there's other great characters, but I think he's the best.
He's awesome. He's fucking awesome. Then there's possibly here's the thing though. There's a Green Lantern Corps Justice League sequel possibly, Man of Steel sequel possibly, a Booster Gold sequel that no one cares about. Gotham City Sirens, Deadshot,
Okay.
Nightwing, Batgirl, Harley Quinn and Joker, Deathstroke, Joker, Supergirl, Blue Beetle, Plastic Man, Wonder Woman 1984 sequel, and The Trench, which is like an Aquaman spin-off. One thing I do want to talk about is this, because they were talking about Shazam. We're supposed to be talking about Shazam. We're talking about so many other things. There's going to be like Adam spin-off with Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. Why?
I don't know. People like villain movies now, I guess. I don't care.
But like, the Joker is an icon. And a Suicide Squad is about supervillains coming together. Like, if he was part of a Suicide Squad movie, I could see that. Or if he was the bad guy in a Suicide Squad movie, fine, and introduce him that way. But I don't care about him outside the context of other characters, specifically Shazam. So why would anyone else? I don't know.
He had a really cool, and you haven't gotten there yet, but like Bombshells United, which was the sequel, had a really cool plotline with him, but he was the villain versus, Talia al Ghul, Batwoman. Like he was, he had a hero to bounce off of.
Yeah, because outside of it, he's just like, I don't know that much about him. He just like rules his kingdom of Kandak, and that's about it. And,
yeah.
So that's the future of the DCEU. Some of those ideas may work. Some of them might not, but...
I mean, Michael Bay is supposed to direct the Lobo movie. That's not going to be good.
Fuck! Why do people give him work?
Though, if anyone was to direct... Like, if he was to direct any DC movie, Lobo is probably the best one for him.
Probably, yeah.
Like, uber-violent space bounty hunter, like...
You know what? Fine, yeah, I'll tolerate it. Whatever keeps him busy and away from Transformers.
Yeah, keep him away from Transformers. He's gonna make another one. Speaking of which, the woman who...
What?
Huh?
He's gonna make another Transformers movie?
It keeps making him money. There's no official announcement, but I would assume he probably is at some point.
Oh, because I've heard, like, he's out. Like, that's it. They're not going to do another Transformers movie with him.
Speaking of which, the woman who wrote Bumblebee is writing Birds of Prey and Batgirl, supposedly.
Oh, awesome.
Kathy Yan, I believe her name is. And I didn't see Bumblebee, but I've heard very good things about it.
Because here's the thing. This is the reason why I hate DC. They do have talented people working for them. They do have clever people, talented people who can create great stories, like Wonder Woman, like Shazam, like Birds of Prey, like Bombshells. So let's just give them the focus instead of the Bays and the Snyders and the David S. Goyers who don't know what they're doing, and keep the focus where it should be. Like with Shazam, the focus was where it should be, and we got a very fun movie out of it.
But we should let the Russo brothers direct literally everything in the Marvel Universe for the next forever.
If we do that, they're going to get burnt out, and they'll develop mediocre
They're already
properties.
burnt out.
Like, that's the great thing about Marvel is they get new people in for different perspectives and stuff. Like, I mean, I never imagined a world where Taika Waititi would direct a superhero movie, and then we got it, and it was awesome. So,
okay, but they couldn't even let a woman direct Captain Marvel alone.
Yeah.
She had to be on a team. Like, the idea that Marvel is any better than DC at this is baffling. Like, they both have really like it's when they let visionaries direct the. Ryan Coogler did a fantastic job with Black Panther. Taika Waititi did a fantastic job.
Thor Ragnarok.
James Wan did a really good job. David F. Sandberg, Patty Jenkins. I think people are starting to realize that people who haven't been directing superhero movies probably should, because they're probably going to be the best at it.
Yeah.
But then we also have the establishment ones that are never going to go away that end up ruining the character development from the previous movies, like the Russo brothers. That's my biggest. I don't even care that much about Marvel characters. That's my biggest problem with Infinity War, is that they ruined Thor again.
Yeah, that was a problem. We did acknowledge that when we talked about it, but I acknowledge it. Yeah, but I mean, it's tricky. But I don't blame the Russo brothers for that necessarily. But that's a topic for another day. This
Right.
review has gone on far too long, so I think we're going to end the show there. Once again, Alex, thank you very much for coming and trying to put me in my place with regards to DC.
I will do that for the rest of forever. That is my job. Forever.
Oh, God, it's like you're my Mark for DC, what he is for Disney. Oh.
There should be just one episode that's just me and Mark talking about DC and Disney.
While I'm strapped to a chair with a ball gag in my mouth. No! Stop it! And if you enjoy the Showcapers, please tell your friends, shout it on the rooftops! And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our super episodes like our Aquaman episode I did with Alex. You can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, or at podcapers.com. We have a Patreon. Check out the rewards, patreon.com/AP2HYC. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HYC, or email us at podcapers@ap2hyc.com. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone, the red and blue 3D glasses, those are mine. And thank you for listening. This has been Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. Cue the music!